Let's learn all about icebergs. Ahoy, explorers, it's Captain Zippy. Imagine you're on a boat, the sun is shining, and the seagulls are singing. The gentle breeze is brushing against your face, and the sound of the waves is like a soothing melody. It's a perfect day for an adventure on the high seas. Suddenly, you see something amazing in the distance. It's shimmering and glistening under the bright sun, catching your eye and making you wonder what it could be. What's that giant ice cube? But it's not just any ice cube. It's an iceberg, a majestic and mysterious creation of nature. Wow, what's that? It's so big and beautiful.
That, my friend, is an iceberg. Icebergs are not just frozen water, they are like floating mountains made of ice. Icebergs are giant chunks of ice floating in the ocean. They break off from glaciers and ice shelves and embark on a journey through the sea. They come in all shapes and sizes, from small ones like your bathtub to enormous ones bigger than a city. Some are tall and towering, while others are flat and wide. They might look like they're just floating around, but icebergs have a fascinating story to tell. Each layer of ice holds secrets about the Earth's climate and history. They've traveled a long way and have a lot to teach us about our planet. By studying icebergs, scientists can learn about past weather patterns and predict future climate changes. So, put on your explorer hats and let's dive into the world of icebergs. Get ready to uncover the mysteries of these icy giants and discover the wonders they hold. You know how ducks float with only a little bit of their bodies above the water? It's fascinating to watch them glide effortlessly, isn't it? They seem so calm and serene, just drifting along with the current. But have you ever wondered what's going on beneath the surface? Just like ducks, there's a lot more happening below than meets the eye. Well, icebergs are kind of like giant ice ducks. They float with just a small portion of their massive bodies visible above the water. It's a bit of a mystery, isn't it? These colossal chunks of ice, drifting silently in the ocean, hiding their true size beneath the waves. What you see above the water is just a tiny part of the iceberg. In fact, it's only about 10% of the entire structure. Imagine that. The vast majority of the iceberg, a whopping 90%, is submerged, hidden from view. It's like an enormous secret lying just below the surface. Most of it, about 90%, is hidden underwater. This hidden part is often even more impressive than what we can see. It's a reminder of how much more there is to discover if we just look a little deeper. The underwater portion of an iceberg can be incredibly vast and complex, with intricate shapes and formations sculpted by the ocean currents. But why do icebergs float at all? It's a question that might seem simple, but the answer is rooted in the fascinating properties of water and ice. You see, icebergs float because of a unique characteristic of ice: its density. It's because ice is less dense than water, meaning it's lighter for its size. When water freezes into ice, it expands and becomes less dense. This is why ice cubes float in your drink. The same principle applies to icebergs, just on a much larger scale. Think of it like this. A big fluffy cotton ball is lighter than a small rock, even though the rock is smaller. The cotton ball takes up more space but weighs less, just like ice compared to water. This difference in density is what allows icebergs to float. So next time you see an iceberg, remember there's a whole lot more to it beneath the surface. It's a powerful metaphor for many things in life. Often, what we see on the surface is just a fraction of the whole story. There's always more to explore, more to understand, and more to appreciate if we take the time to look deeper. Icebergs aren't just magically born in the ocean. They have a cool origin story. It all starts with glaciers, which are like giant rivers of ice on land. These glaciers slowly flow downhill, and sometimes they reach the sea. As the glacier moves, big chunks of ice break off and fall into the water with a giant splash. This process is called calving, like when a mama cow has a baby calf. These chunks of ice become our floating friends, the icebergs. From there, they're carried by ocean currents, sometimes traveling thousands of miles.
Fun facts about icebergs, size, colors, and sounds. Oh my! Now let's uncover some fun facts about icebergs. These massive chunks of ice that float in the ocean are not just cold and white. They have a lot more to them than meets the eye.
They come in all shapes and sizes, from tiny ice cubes to gigantic floating islands. Some icebergs are as small as a car, while others are bigger than entire cities. Imagine a floating piece of ice larger than New York City drifting in the ocean. The biggest iceberg ever recorded was larger than the entire country of Belgium. That's like having a whole country made of ice floating around. Icebergs aren't always just white. They can come in a variety of colors, each telling a different story about their journey and composition. They can be blue, green, or even striped. The colors depend on the conditions they were formed in and what they contain. Blue icebergs are older and denser, formed from compressed snow that has lost most of its air bubbles over time, while green ones might have tiny plants called algae living in them, giving them their unique hue. These algae can thrive in the cold, icy waters, adding a splash of color to the frozen landscape.
And guess what? Icebergs can sing. Well, sort of. When they break apart or melt, they produce a variety of sounds. As they melt, they make cracking, popping, and even booming sounds. These noises are caused by the release of trapped air bubbles and the shifting of ice. It's like a giant ice orchestra out in the ocean. The symphony of sounds created by melting and breaking icebergs is a natural wonder, adding to the mystique and beauty of these icy giants.
Iceberg adventures and the Titanic. Icebergs might seem like giant ice cubes, but they can be dangerous too. Remember the story of the Titanic? It was one of the largest and most luxurious ships of its time. On its maiden voyage in 1912, this big, strong ship hit an iceberg and sank. The collision caused the ship's hull to buckle, leading to a tragic loss of over 1,500 lives. It's a good reminder that even though icebergs are beautiful, we need to be careful around them. Want to see an iceberg in real life? You can find them in places like Greenland, Antarctica, and even near Canada. The Titanic disaster led to changes in maritime laws, making sea travel safer for everyone. But remember, always admire them from a safe distance. Climate change and melting icebergs. Our planet is getting warmer, and that's causing glaciers to melt faster. This means more icebergs are breaking off into the ocean. While that might sound cool, it's actually a bit of a problem. When icebergs melt, they add more water to the ocean, making the sea level rise. This can cause problems for people and animals living near coastlines. That's why it's so important to take care of our planet by saving energy and reducing pollution. Keep exploring and protect our planet. Icebergs are amazing examples of nature's power and beauty. They teach us about glaciers, oceans, and the effects of climate change. So keep asking questions, keep exploring, and let's all do our part to protect our amazing planet Earth. Remember, even though they're made of ice, icebergs are pretty cool and fascinating.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun videos. And be sure to visit our channel's homepage to discover more amazing educational videos waiting for you. Keep exploring and learning.